Hello everyone, my name is Brittany Guerrette and I am the Collections and Research Public Programming Specialist here at Old Sturbridge Village. And today I'm going to discuss this beautiful Crewel Embroidered Coverlet from our collection. So this coverlet is made out of woodblock and copperplate printed cottons that were cut into triangles and then hand sewn together to form squares. In the center is this large square piece of a beautiful symmetrical urn with flowers, and this design is repeated on the corners of the coverlet as well in these triangular pieces. But the most interesting part about the coverlet is the animals that are scattered throughout the piece. These animals come in pairs and range from bugs such as centipedes and beetles and scorpions and even moths, to exotic animals like lions and peacocks, and we even have mythical creatures like dragons on it as well. And all of these animals are created with these bright, vivid colors and seem to have a lifelike personality to them. Now, unfortunately, we don't know who created this coverlet, but we do know that it was found in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and likely dates to about 1790 to 1800. And this coverlet is actually in pretty delicate condition, and it has been backed with some linen to kind of give it some more structure. And if you look really closely, you can see in some areas that it's been delicately whip-stitched into place to kind of retain the original piece. So crewel embroidery like this was a common needlework practice in the 17th and 18th centuries, and it was commonly done on bed hangings and curtains. And if you look really closely at this piece, you can see that some of the embroidery has been either cut off or sewn over, and it's likely that this was reused from some bed hangings and then sewn back into this coverlet. The other pieces of textile are likely scraps as well, and if you look closely at those, you can see some parts that have been mended so that it could be reused for the coverlet. Crewel embroidery was done with a thin worsted wool, usually 2-ply and lightly twisted. During the dyeing process, wool takes on color very well. So when creating a piece like this, you could use all kinds of vivid colors. And if you look really closely, you can tell that the colors have faded over time, but that these colors used to be very vibrant. And looking at these animals, you can even tell that there's some shading involved as well. Another thing about using wool is that it creates a lot of texture and dimension in the piece. Now, if we look closely at this dragon, for instance, you can see that the wings are a lot flatter than the rest of the body, and that gives it more perspective and dimension, and also gives it some personality as well. Like modern embroidery, there are many different kinds of stitches used in this piece, including the satin, the chain stitch, the herringbone stitch, and even the stem stitch, among many others. Traditionally, this was taught to young girls, and you can see a lot of these techniques in 18th century samplers. But unfortunately, by the end of the 18th century, we see crewel embroidery being replaced by silk embroidery and other forms of needlecrafts. Though we don't know who created this coverlet, by looking at it we can see that whoever it was had quite an imagination, and we can also admire the skill and hard work as well as the creativity that went into creating this piece.